and he wanted more. Aniyor. So they made more. And they made everything they had, and he ate it. And then by his grace, he manifested it all as Mahaprasad. And then Shri Giriraj, in that beautiful personal form, disappeared. And the Brajavasis were so blissful. They distributed all that prasad to the Brahmins, to the Brajavasis, to the cows, to the dogs, to everyone. Everyone was completely happy. And Krishna was doing so many beautiful pujas he was leading for the cows, giving them food, giving them ornaments, giving them different forms of worship, giving them rest. And then with the cows in front, Krishna and Balaram, with all the Brajavasis, they performed the parikrama of Giriraj, circumambulated Govardhan Hill. The festival was wonderful. Everyone was the happiest, except Indra. Indra could not tolerate seeing the happiness of the Brajavasis. Not only did they totally discredit him in front of all the other demigods, they defied him, and he considered this such a terrible offense. But after doing it all, they were so happy. After eating Govardhan's prasad and seeing Govardhan's darshan and circumambulating Govardhan Hill and using all of Indra's puja materials for that purpose, please try to understand, because we know what the false ego's like. Indra was seeing that they were billions of times happier worshipping Govardhan than they were doing the puja every year for him. Not only was he insulted, but their happiness just added more fuel to the fire of his anger. They're so happy listening to this talkative little 7-year-old boy, Krishna. I will teach them lesson. Indra called for the Samvartaka clouds. You've never seen one of these clouds, because if you see it, you can't talk about it after that. Because these are the clouds of devastation. They don't come in the monsoon times to, flood Mumbai. They come to actually cover the entire earth at the time of a deluge of a planet. They're powerful clouds. They're reserved for that purpose. Indra called for the Samvartaka clouds. And he was fuming with anger. He completely lost his intelligence. The Bhagavad Gita tells, Jayato Vishayan Pungsa, that when you have attachment, it becomes lust. From that lust, when it's unfulfilled, it becomes anger. From anger, our memory is bewildered, our intelligence is lost, and then we commit offenses. Well, Indra, such a great position. He fell prey to that anger. He said, destroy the village of Vrindavan. Usually, I order you to cover the earth planet. Now with all the powers and potencies you have, that one village of Vrindavan, destroy it. So they were obedient. He sent cyclones, hurricanes, windstorms, rain. Suddenly, in Vrindavan, after this joyous festival, these incredibly dark clouds began to form in the sky. Our acharyas tell these clouds extended from Rasatala Loka all the way to Swargaloka, just above Vrindavan. That means these clouds were hundreds and thousands of miles thick. And winds started blowing, and lightning was streaking. It became very cold. And when the rain started falling, it didn't come in drops. It came in pillars. It was like countless rivers pouring down from the sky at such incredibly powerful speed. It was just starting. And the cows feeling the winds and the cold and seeing the clouds and the rains pouring, they only had concern for their little calves. And in Vrindavan, why did they care for their calves? Because they knew how much Krishna loved their calves. And as the mother, on behalf of Krishna, they're protecting those little calves. They're protecting on behalf of Krishna. So the cows, they were trying to protect their little babies by the hanging flesh that comes under their neck. They were covering the heads of the calves with that. And as the rain started pouring, they were crying, and the calves were crying. And the bulls, they were feeling the rain pounding against their horns and pounding against the humps on their backs, and they were looking at the clouds. Very distressed. And all the Brajavasis, they all came to Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Mahabaho. Oh, Krishna, you are so strong. We are suffering. You asked us to do the puja meant for Indra, and now Indra's really, really angry, and he's sending massive storms upon us. And look, we've put your cows in front. Look at how your cows are suffering, and we're also suffering. The Brajavasis, they always saw Krishna as so vulnerable, just to increase their love. The gopis, they would cry, their hearts would break when they're thinking Krishna's feet are so soft. And when he goes to the pastures with his cows, if he steps on a pebble, on a little tiny stone, it may cause pain to his soft lotus feet. And Yashoda Mai and Rohini Devi, they were always in anxiety about Krishna's welfare and safety. When Krishna was just a little baby and just started just started to walk, just to increase the love of their mothers. They would grab onto the horns of massive bulls. They would play with monkeys with sharp teeth and claws. They would go to the most dangerous kind of situations, apparently. And their mothers were always in anxiety, worried about their safety. But when it came to a major catastrophe like this, they all turned to Krishna as their only shelter to help them, to save them. And by Krishna's transcendental Yogamaya potency, it didn't interfere with their relationships with Krishna. Their loving relationships. So Krishna smiled, and he traveled, he walked quickly to Govardhan Hill. And as effortlessly as a little child lifts up a mushroom, he lifted the Govardhan Hill. Now today, Giriraj is 21 kilometers to walk around. But at the time of Krishna, it was far bigger. It had peaks going to the clouds. And as Krishna lifted it so effortlessly, the whole earth was shaking. It made an enormous trembling sound, the uprooting of a mountain from the ground. And as he was lifting it, earth was falling, and it made a border around the whole hill so that the water, as it came off from Govardhan Hill, there was like a border wall of all the earth that blocked the water from coming under the hill. Krishna, with the little finger of his left hand, held up Govardhan mountain. And then with a very sweet voice, he said, "O Nanda, O Yashoda, O all Brijabasis, bring everyone. Bring your families, bring your cows. We will have a wonderful village that is none different than Vrindavan under Govardhan Hill." Govardhan Hill was serving as an umbrella to protect us from the rains. And the valley under Govardhan Hill was so beautiful. It was as beautiful as Vrindavan. And everyone came. Limitless cows and calves, and there were the peacocks and the parrots and the birds and the deers and all of the gopis and the gopas. They gathered around Giridhari. And Krishna said, because Govardhan is so pleased by your offerings, now he's here to protect us. He said, actually, I'm not lifting the hill. Govardhan himself has made himself as light as a feather, as light as cotton. And I'm just an instrument standing here because he's so pleased. When everyone gathered under Govardhan Hill, which was like a beautiful jeweled umbrella, and they surrounded Krishna. Krishna fulfilled the desire of everyone. All the gopis, all the gopas, all the cows, all the animals, the Brahmins, they were in a circle around Krishna. And each one was feeling, Krishna is only looking at me. And the reality it wasn't an illusion. Krishna was only looking at each one of them. That is Krishna. Each one was thinking so special. They were feeling Krishna's love so intimately. And he never stopped looking at them. Now you and me, you can look at someone and then you have to look somewhere else to look at someone else and then you have to look over there. But Krishna was looking at everyone simultaneously. And all the love of Krishna's heart was pouring out of his eyes, his lotus eyes, to completely conquer the hearts of all of the devotees. And each devotee was glancing at Krishna and offering all of the love of their hearts through their glances to him. And each particular type of devotee was serving Krishna according to their particular nature. The Brahmins were chanting mantras to bless Krishna, for Krishna to be happy. And Krishna was listening to each one of their prayers and receiving. Krishna's friends, the Gopas, they were gazing upon Krishna. They were telling such sweet, loving jokes to make Krishna laugh. And Krishna was telling jokes to them to make them laugh. And the gopis, headed by Shri Radharani, it is described by Kavi Karnapur that they were gazing upon Krishna's beautiful moon-like face as the chakora bird. Their eyes were like chakora bird. According to Sanskrit poetry, the chakora bird only looks up toward the full moon and cannot look at anything else. And as they were gazing upon Krishna, they were offering all the love of their hearts to Krishna. And Krishna was receiving. And how did he reciprocate? The beauty of his form was so much increased and enhanced by their love that each of them personally, individually, he entered through their eyes in his form into the very core of their hearts. And there they embraced him and he embraced them limitlessly. In great ecstasy. Yashoda Mai and the elder Gopas and Gopis, they were offering their love in Vatsalya Ras. They were very worried about Krishna. Yashoda Mai, she is chastising Krishna. Why are you so restless? Why are you so mischievous? Every year for generations we're doing this Indra Puja. Why did you disturb Indra? Now look, he's trying to destroy all of us. Why are you so restless? Don't you even have respect for the demigods? And Madhu Mangal, Batu, he started arguing with Yashoda Mai. He said, what are you saying? This is so nice. If Indra didn't get so angry as he did, we would not be having this beautiful darshan of Krishna lifting up Govardhan Hill with the little finger of his left hand. Look, we're all together under the hill together. This beautiful form of Krishna is bringing us such happiness. So nice that Indra became so angry. Yashoda Mai, what are you saying, Batu? My heart is breaking as a mother and you're telling jokes? How can you say this is happiness? My little son, his arm must be so tired. His finger must be feeling such pain. How can you say it's a happy thing to see a little boy holding up a massive mountain like this? Madhu Mangal said, Krishna's not doing it. It is my Brahman Tejas that is doing it. He's just standing and taking credit. Yashoda Mai was very much disturbed with Madhu Mangal and Krishna. Krishna said, Mother, please know, I'm so happy. This is effortless. Govardhan himself, just to protect us out of his grace, he's just floating on my finger. I'm just standing here like this. Yashoda Mai said, if that's true, then have Govardhan rise above your finger and float in the sky. And Yashoda Mai was praying to Govardhan from the core of her heart with her motherly love. Please, Giriraj, king of mountains, make yourself very soft so it doesn't hurt the finger of my son. And make yourself very light so that he doesn't get tired. In this way, simultaneously, Krishna's having these beautiful exchanges under Govardhan Hill. And this took place for 7 days and 7 nights. Yashoda Mai is thinking, Krishna must be really hungry. It is explained that all the people there, they didn't have Gauranga Prabhu and Radha Vallabha Prabhu setting up kitchens to cook for the masses in the middle of a field. They didn't need to eat. You may wonder how everybody's there. It is described simply by gazing upon the beauty of Krishna and feeling the grace of Krishna. They were completely nourished. Every cow, every calf, every bull, every animal, every bird, every devotee. But Yashoda Mai was preparing nice little preparations for Krishna. After all, he must be really hungry. He's holding up this hill. And at one time, with his left hand, he's holding Govardhan Hill. With his right hand, it was on the shoulder of one of his cowherd boyfriends. And then he took his flute. And as he held the Giriraj with one hand, he began to play beautiful songs on his flute with his right hand, enchanting the hearts of everyone. When Krishna plays his flute, when we actually awaken love, we could all experience he's personally playing for each of us. It was so sweet. But some of the cowherd boys got really worried that when Krishna plays his flute, we have seen that water and lakes, they become solid and still. And solid matter, like stones, in the ecstasy of hearing the vibration of Krishna's loving flute, they melt. Giriraj, hearing Krishna's flute, he's going to melt. He's going to become like a massive river, and we will all be destroyed. Someone, somehow or other, stop Krishna from playing his flute. And another Gopa and Gopi, they expressed that what you're saying is true. But Giriraj is very sober. Let us not worry about anything and simply enjoy the sweet song of Krishna's flute. On top of Govardhan Hill, there was a massive storm with clouds, rain, and occasional rainbows, and lightning flashing in every direction. And under Govardhan Hill, there was another storm. Krishna's beautiful form, Shyam Sundar, was like a monsoon cloud. And his incredibly bright golden dhoti was like lightning. And his peacock feather was like a rainbow. And the beauty that he was sharing with all of his devotees was like a torrential rainstorm. And all the Brajavasis were drowning in happiness. While this most intimate, loving festival of love was happening under Govardhan Hill, on top, Indra was sending the most ferocious winds and rains. But Govardhan, feeling the touch of the hand of Krishna, was so surcharged with happiness that he didn't feel any pain. In fact, all these rains of devastation falling on Govardhan was like an abhishek. He felt it very pleasing. And he was just shining brighter and brighter and brighter. In fact, in all those 7 days, the Samvartaka clouds, they would go to the ocean, fill themselves up, pour it down, go back and forth until they were totally exhausted. And they went to Indra and said, "We surrender. Nothing we can do." And then these massive rainstorms, Indra ordered them, blow that hill off Krishna's finger. The greatest hurricanes, cyclones, tornadoes that the world has ever seen was blowing on that hill, and they couldn't move it from Krishna's finger. And Krishna was smiling. Sri Radharani cast a beautiful glance upon Krishna. And Krishna seeing her beauty. And what is Sri Radha's beauty? It's nothing material. It's the essence of pure spiritual existence. Hladini Shakti. Her body is herself eternally. She's the non-different than Krishna as the supreme lover. Chaitanya Charitamrita explains her beauty is simply as a manifested expression of her love for Krishna. And because her love for Krishna is limitless and ever increasing, her beauty is limitless and ever increasing. And Krishna, seeing that beauty, began to tremble and perspire. And the cowherd men, they interpreted that this must mean Krishna's getting tired, so they put their cowherd sticks under the hill to help him hold. And Sri Radharani just smiled because the gopis understood. This is the beautiful rasas of Govardhan Leela. In all 7 days, Indra did not have the power to bring about even the slightest movement to one single grain of dust. With all of his winds and all of his rains and all of his thunderbolts, he could not even move a single blade of grass. Of all the trees of Govardhan, he could not separate a single leaf from the tree. And everyone was happy. And even some of the deers and lions that were on top of Govardhan Hill, they were blissful. He could not disturb them. When Krishna wants to humble us, he can do it so thoroughly. And ultimately, Indra, his false pride was so disturbed. It was igniting like a fire. And it was blazing and blazing. And the more he was being defeated, the more angry and more determined he was. I have to win. I have to prove myself. And even after all the winds gave up and all the clouds of devastation gave up, he was all on his own. And with all his powers on his elephant, he was throwing thunderbolts and throwing storms until he was completely exhausted. He couldn't move a particle of dust. He became very depressed and gave up. And the clouds went away, and the sun came out. And actually nobody wanted to leave Govardhan Hill. Because in ordinary pastime days, Krishna was with the gopas in the day. He would meet Yashoda Mai and Nanda and the older gopas and gopis in the evenings and in the early mornings. And the young gopis, when Krishna was in the pastures all day, they would just be longing and yearning and waiting for him to return and play his flute. But during these 7 days, all the devotees were simultaneously with Krishna 24 hours every day. Krishna smiled that the rains have stopped and the sun has come out. And not only that, but the sun has come out so nicely that everything's completely dry outside. So now everyone, please return to your homes. And by Krishna's divine love for his devotees, the whole village of Vrindavan was exactly the same as before the rains. Indra couldn't do anything to anything or anyone. So they all gazed upon Krishna, and they all had their loving exchanges with Krishna. And then by Krishna's wish, they returned to their homes. And the cowherd boys, they brought the calves and the cows outside of Govardhan. But when they saw that Krishna was still there holding, all the cows ran back. They couldn't give up Krishna's association in a circle around him. And Krishna smiled, And with his glance, he herded them all outside from Govardhan Hill. And when everyone was happily situated after this great 7-day festival of love, Krishna effortlessly, as a little child places a flower on the ground, he put Govardhan Hill exactly in the place from where he lifted it. Balaram came running to Krishna, weeping tears of affection, and embraced him. Yashoda Mai and Rohini, in their motherly love, they were offering pujas to him for his protection. In fact, Yashoda Mai was massaging his arm and kissing his finger. The Brahmins were offering so many blessings. And then Krishna went to play with his friends. And he left his friends because he was thinking of Indra. And he went all alone just near Govardhan Hill. Indra was so depressed. He felt himself so guilty. His anger blinded him of any reason or logic. But now he was really sober. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Bhagavan. He's the cause of all causes. He's the source of everything. And I tried to destroy him. And I just tried to destroy Vrindavan, his most sacred, beloved place, and all of his loving devotees. What am I going to do? Such an offense. He approached his guru, Brihaspati. This was beyond Brihaspati. They went to Lord Brahma. And Brihaspati and Brahma told Indra, "You are a fool. What have you done?" You cannot face Krishna. But if you make offenses, the only means is you have to go to one who Krishna loves. And if that person appeals on your behalf for forgiveness, then Krishna will forgive you. Who is that person who is so dear to Krishna? Brahman Brihaspati said, Surabhi, the mother of the cows. Krishna loves the cows, and the cows love Krishna. So here is the most opulent person in the heavenly regions, Indra, the king of the demigods. With all humility, he's humbling himself at the lotus hooves of a mother cow. Because he was proud of his strength, his knowledge, his fame, his position. But ultimately, he realized that the only real power is love, bhakti. And this cow has love for Krishna. Surabhi was very sensitive. And Krishna was so sensitive. He was all alone near Govardhan Hill. Today that place is Surabhi Kund. It was there that Surabhi approached Krishna. And with motherly love toward Indra, she expressed to Krishna, Indra is seriously remorseful. His mind is completely inundated by the deluge of guilt for what he has done. Please forgive him. He wants to serve you. Please accept him. On the loving prayer of Surabhi, Krishna forgave Indra. Indra then came to Krishna and bowed in full dandavat pranams, put his head on Krishna's lotus feet, and actually expressed his gratitude that I was blinded by my arrogance, and you performed this beautiful pastime just to give me vision. Indra surrendered, and Krishna accepted that surrender. This is a principle. We cannot approach Krishna directly when we have lived birth after birth with offensive and neglectful lives. But if we approach true Vaishnavas and they pray on our behalf, on the power of their love and their devotion, Krishna will forgive us. Krishna will accept our service. I remember in my own life, I was a pujari for about 7 years, and I took care of cows. And when I would do an offering to Krishna, Radha, Vrindavan were the names of the deities, I would sometimes feel so useless and guilty, like, who am I to offer something to Krishna? But if Srila Prabhupada, because of his love for Krishna, and he's asking us to make these offerings, then on the power of Srila Prabhupada's love, Krishna will accept my offering. Krishna will accept all of our offerings. And this is the way we should learn to think. Not that what I'm doing is something very great that Krishna will appreciate. But because of the love and the compassion of Srila Prabhupada and our beloved acharyas, and because of their prayers for us, Krishna is willing to accept our offerings.